All right.
Chef Matt, here we are still at Clark Kitchen with
Sub-Zero
our
Wolf showroom.
good friends. We're gonna make our world famous mac and cheese
We are.
for the at-home guests and customers of Clark Kitchen.
It's like the ultimate comfort
So
food.
comforting,
Right.
so comforting.
So we're gonna start off with some butter. Because what did we say earlier?
Butter makes everything better.
is better with butter.
Oh, yes it does.
A little bit of onion, a little bit of garlic. Right?
Okay.
We're gonna sweat some onions in there.
And basically this is like the ultimate cheese sauce. So not only can you use this for mac and cheese,
You can use it for everything.
nice and minced, yeah?
Nice and minced,
Okay.
because we don't really want texture, so we're gonna let that kind of soften in there. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic. We're gonna add a little bit of flour to make some roux in there, right? Then we're gonna add our cream. At S&W, when we do it, we put a little bit of like a really, really reduced chicken stock in there for a little bit of additional flavor.
Okay.
It's not necessary. We do it in the mac and cheese. This is something that is going to be purely kind of vegetarian, not vegan, but vegetarian. So we'll leave the chicken stock out.
This is kid friendly, so we don't want any big chunks of onion or chunks of garlic.
No, and if your kids are ultra sensitive to that, you can hit this with like a little stick blender to make it totally smooth, and they won't know what's in there.
Like the box version.
Yeah.
Little garlic.
A little garlic. Get your onion in there. Add a little bit of flour.
And you're just basically making a roux.
Basically, just making a roux. We're gonna make a fairly loose one.
Because the cheese, I mean the amounts of cheese we're going to put in there
It's gonna bind
is
as well.
really going to bind it as well. So we don't need a huge amount of roux.
Now, a little bit of like something on roux, right? The more you cook the flour, the less it will thicken.
So I can see it's changing its sort of texture, right? It's kind of, it almost is not coating the pan anymore or moving
yeah, it almost
away.
looks like it's getting looser,
Yeah.
right? So that's it kind of, that's it starting to cook out a little bit. So the flour first bound the butter up completely, and now as it's starting to cook, it's loosening. So if I was making a dark roux for a gumbo, I would add a little bit more flour at this point.
Okay.
Tighten it back up again.
Okay.
Right? But again, I don't really want that in this instance.
So here's where I always mess up. Am I going to do the milk first or the cream first, or am I going to do the cheese first?
The cream first. So like the deal when working with a roux, right? You can always add either a cold roux to a hot liquid,
Okay.
or a cold liquid to a hot roux. Never you can't do hot and hot. You don't do cold and cold. Always
Okay.
one hot, one cold.
Good to know. Good to know. So this is hot,
So this is hot. So
and
we
we're
have
allowed
cold
to
cream.
have cold cream, but we wouldn't want to preheat the cream.
And you always want to make sure that you cook the flour out of it, right? So it's going to take about 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes to cook the flour out of your sauce.
Okay.
Otherwise, you get that kind of funny,
Chalky.
floury, chalky texture in your sauce, which nobody likes.
Does it have to be heavy cream? What if I want to lighten it up a little bit?
If you want to lighten it up a little bit, you can use milk, but you'll probably need a little bit more roux.
Got it.
Because it's obviously, it's not thick to begin with.
And you've got to be stirring while you do this.
Yeah, because you don't want roux balls. Nobody wants roux balls.
Nobody wants roux balls.
Nobody wants roux balls. I got you. So that's going to have to come up to a boil before the roux does anything,
Okay.
right?
And you just kind of eyeballed that, but you know about how much about how much roux. But if you're not sure, I know what I've done in the past. If I feel like I have a ton of roux, I've set some aside
Exactly.
in case I'm putting in too much liquid.
So that's where that trick comes in, right? You can have a hot liquid and a cold roux, which is a little bit easier to kind of understand the quantities, right? So make your roux, set it aside, let it cool down.
Yep.
Bring your cream up to a boil, and then start adding your roux
Might be the
little bit
better
at a
way,
time,
depending on how you're working.
until you get that feel for it and you understand kind of how to eyeball it. That's an easier way. So I added a little bit of kosher salt and a little bit of white pepper to this.
White pepper because we're working with the white sauce.
White pepper, white sauce. The other thing is when you're dealing with something that is meant to be smooth and creamy and velvety, right? Black pepper has almost like the way it's built, almost like burrs on the outside of the actual pepper itself.
Right.
So they can tend to stick in your throat.
And they do.
Right, where white pepper doesn't have that because it's just the inside of the peppercorn, so it doesn't have that, so it's more smoother. So, black pepper when you're seasoning the outside of the steak or something like really want that like aggressive kind of
Sure.
flavoring. But white pepper, when you're making a sauce, is something that's going to be a little more delicate. So we're going to bring this up to a boil.
Okay.
Let it simmer a little bit, and we're going to add cheese. So for cheese,
Mm-hmm.
what I like to do, I make it a little bit more of like an adult version of the mac and cheese, so we get a little more creative with the cheeses rather than just, you know,
Gotta keep
powdered
everybody
yellow
happy.
cheddar.
Yep. Gotta keep everybody.
So
Exactly.
we have some Parmesan,
Mm-hmm.
some Gruyere,
Yep.
and some aged white cheddar. 2 parts white cheddar, 1 part Parmesan, 1 part Gruyere.
Okay.
When
Could you
when
do
I
a
make-
smoked Gruyere?
You could absolutely do a smoked Gruyere. And
Mhm.
once we add the cheese, we're not going to do a whole lot to it,
Okay.
right? Because we want to leave the cheese almost a little bit like stringy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this amount of cheese sauce is good for about a pound of dry pasta,
Okay. Which we
right?
have
So
here.
what we have is we cooked campanelli pasta. So they're like
Yeah.
little trumpet shapes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Holds the
you,
cheese.
yeah, you want something that's gonna hold sauce for this, right? So like traditional, obviously, like the box is elbow mac,
Right.
right? Again, it's got a tube, so it holds the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want something with a really, really thick tube like a rigatoni because it's not gonna hold that much sauce in there.
Right. And we cook this basically just al dente.
Correct.
A little bit of olive oil.
A little bit of olive oil to keep it from sticking together. When you're cooking pasta, one of the things that you want to do that I notice everybody makes a mistake on is not salting the water enough. Think about where like pasta originated. It's in Italy, right? It's in the Mediterranean. The water is salty.
Yeah.
Think that your pot of water should taste like the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh wow, that's salty.
Right. That's how
Very
your pot of water should taste when
Okay.
you go to cook pasta.
Okay.
Okay, so we're coming up to a boil, so we're starting to thicken now.
We're
With
ready to
some
add our
Parmesan.
cheese. Parmesan.
Gruyere.
Yeah. So you basically said 1 part of each of those and maybe 2 parts of the cheddar.
Correct.
But you really can kind of mix and match the way
You
you
can
see
mix and
fit.
match. That's just the way, I kind of tend to like the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Gruyere is great, got great melting. Parmesan's got some really good saltiness and nuttiness to it. And then who doesn't like cheddar, right?
Right.
So,
I feel like we could just empty your cheese drawer to make
oh,
this
totally.
dish. Just whatever's in there.
There's no real rules, right?
Right.
Anything goes. Switch the heat off.
Right, because I've made that mistake where you keep cooking and the cheese turns into this big huge ball in the middle of the whole
Right.
thing.
Turns into a ball, or sometimes like the oils and the cheese start to come out,
Separate, yeah.
and you don't want that, right? So
No.
you should have this like
So heat's off, you're
Gooey.
mixing. Oh wow, that's amazing.
gooey
I could
deliciousness,
just dump my head right in there.
right? Throw the rest of this in there. Parmesan in there.
So that is the ultimate cheese sauce right there.
Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna give this a taste for a seasoning. Just make sure we have enough salt, enough pepper. Yep. It's pretty ridiculous. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and
Woo!
cheese it up.
That's not Velveeta, ladies and gentlemen. That is some serious cheese sauce.
That is, wow, serious cheese sauce there, right? And now, what I like to do,
Some crazy kids like it just like this,
some do like it just like that, right?
but we want to bake this.
So what I'm gonna do, put a little sauce in the bottom. We're gonna load this up.
Wow.
I like to put a little bit more on the top,
For a nice crust.
right? And then we're gonna take some crushed Ritz crackers for an old school feel, taking it retro.
Yeah. Like the good old days.
400, about 10 minutes. So, about 10 minutes later, 400 degrees, there's your mac and cheese. Old school style with the Ritz cracker crumbs.